My mother-in-law slipped something into my drink at our anniversary party. As the room started spinning, she whispered, "Sign the papers or I'll destroy you." She had my company documents, my secrets, and a plan to take everything. Then my husband walked in. And I realized he knew what happened next changed my life forever. But before I tell you how I almost lost everything I built, I need you to understand how perfect that night was supposed to be. Because sometimes the worst betrayals happen when you're at your happiest. The chandeliers in our living room sparkled like diamonds. That evening, I remember standing by the window, watching over 100 guests mingle on our lawn, thinking this was everything I'd ever dreamed of. 5 years of marriage, $10 million in company revenue, a husband who loved me, a future that finally felt secure. I'd worked so hard to get here. Late nights coding in our tiny apartment, pitching to investors who looked at me like I was wasting their time building something from absolutely nothing. And tonight, we were celebrating all of it. I was wearing this gorgeous emerald dress that my husband had surprised me with that morning. He'd kissed my forehead and told me I deserved to feel like a queen. I did feel like a queen. At least I did until I saw her walk through the door. My mother-in-law arrived an hour late and she was wearing white, not cream, not ivory, pure bridal white. Everyone noticed. The conversations dipped for just a moment before people politely looked away. She glided through the crowd like she owned the place. Her smile sharp and practiced. In her hands was an elegant gift bag with a bottle inside. She came straight to me, arms open for an embrace that felt more like a trap closing around me. "Darling," she said, her voice sweet as poisoned honey. "I brought something special. This wine, it's from a private collection. Very rare. I've been saving it for someone who truly deserves it." She pulled out the bottle, the label in French, the glass dark and expensive looking. "Let's share it. Just us." A mother-to-mother moment before all the speeches and chaos. I should have said no. Looking back, I should have trusted that tiny voice in my head that whispered danger. But I'd spent 5 years trying to win this woman's approval. And here she was finally offering something that looked like acceptance. So I nodded and I followed her to the kitchen where she insisted on pouring the glasses herself. "Two strong women," she said, raising her glass. I raised mine. We drank. The wine tasted expensive, rich with something slightly bitter underneath that I assumed was just the complexity of a good vintage. We made small talk for a few minutes, her complimenting the party, asking about the business, being unusually kind. Then she suggested we step into the study for a moment. "Away from all this noise," she said, "I have something important to discuss with you." That's when everything started to blur. I followed her down the hallway and with each step the floor felt less solid beneath my feet. My vision started doing this strange thing where everything had a double edge to it, like watching the world through water. I tried to focus, tried to clear my head, but the fog just got thicker. She opened the study door, guided me inside with a hand on my elbow, and locked it behind us. The sound of that lock clicking shut is something I'll never forget. "Sit down," she said, and her voice had changed completely. The sweetness was gone. This was cold, businesslike, cruel. "We need to talk about your company." I tried to stay standing, tried to assert myself, but my legs felt like they belonged to someone else. I sank into the leather chair, gripping the armrests to steady myself. "What about my company?" My words came out slower than I intended. She pulled an envelope from her purse, thick, official-looking. She dropped it on the desk in front of me and papers spilled out. Legal documents, transfer of ownership forms, my company name at the top of every page. "You're going to sign over 80% of your business to my son," she said, settling into the chair across from me like we were negotiating a simple real estate deal. Tonight, right now, I started to laugh because surely this was some kind of joke. But she didn't laugh back. She just stared at me with those cold eyes waiting. "You're insane," I managed to say. "I built that company myself. Every line of code, every client, every sleepless night. That was me." "Was it though?" She leaned forward, elbows on the desk, "because from where I'm sitting, you had a lot of help. My son supported you, fed you, gave you a home to work from, connections from our family. Without him, you'd still be nobody. She pushed the papers closer to me. So really, you owe us and it's time to pay up. The room was spinning now. I tried to stand, tried to leave, but my body wasn't responding right. What did you put in that wine? I whispered. Her smile was terrifying. Nothing dangerous, just something to make you more agreeable, more willing to see reason. She pulled out her phone, tapped the screen a few times, then turned it toward me. Now, let me show you why you're going to sign those papers without making a fuss. The first photo was of a man I'd never met. Older, weathered, wearing an orange jumpsuit. That's your father, she said. The one you've never known. I found him. He's in prison. Did you know that? Armed robbery. 10 years into a 20-year sentence. I have his contact information, his prisoner number. I could arrange a very public reunion. How would your investors feel about that? My blood ran cold. I'd spent my entire life not knowing who my father was. My mother never talked about him, took that secret to her grave. And somehow this woman had dug him up and was dangling him in front of me like a weapon. But she wasn't done. She swiped to the next photo. Here's something even better. Remember when you were 15? That little shoplifting incident? Just some makeup from a drugstore. Juvenile records sealed. Nobody knows about it. She smiled. Nobody except me. I had a private investigator pull everything. I can unseal these records. Make them public. Your pristine reputation gone in a day. I felt tears burning my eyes, but I wouldn't let them fall. You're blackmailing me. I'm protecting my family. She corrected. Because you were never really family, were you? You trapped my son with your ambition, your money, your success, made him look small, made him feel like he needed you. She swiped again, and this time I saw emails. My email address at the top, financial documents attached. I've also created some very convincing evidence of fraud. Fake, of course, but your business partners won't know that. Neither will the IRS. By the time you prove it's fabricated, your company will be destroyed. Every word was a knife. Every revelation made me feel smaller, more trapped. The drug in my system made it hard to think clearly, hard to plan an escape route. She'd thought of everything. And just so you understand how alone you really are, she turned her phone to me one more time. It was a group chat. Names of my husband's siblings at the top. Message after message scrolled by, and they were all about me. Calling me a gold digger, a manipulator, someone who didn't deserve to be in their family. Jokes about my background, my appearance, my business. Cruel, cutting words that made my stomach turn. They hate you, she said simply. They've always hated you. They're just too polite to say it to your face. But I'm not. She leaned back in her chair, satisfied. So, here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign those papers right now while you're feeling sick from the party. Tomorrow, we'll make it official. You'll keep 20%, enough to save face. My son gets 80%, which really means I get 80%. And if you refuse, she gestured to her phone. Everything goes public tonight. Your father, your record, the fraud allegations, the family testimony about how unstable you've been. I've even prepared domestic violence claims. Witnesses who will say you've been abusive to my son. That's insane. I breathed. Nobody would believe that, wouldn't they? Her eyebrows raised. A powerful woman, a rich woman, aggressive in business. And a sweet, quiet man who just wanted to support his wife. Who will they believe? You or a grieving mother trying to protect her son? She slid a pen across the desk. Sign now or lose everything. Your choice. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely hold the pen. The room felt like it was closing in on me. 5 years of work, my entire identity, everything I'd built from nothing. And this woman was going to take it all because I'd been stupid enough to drink her wine. I reached for the pen. The door opened. My husband walked in and my heart shattered. This was it. He was part of it. He'd helped her plan this. I was about to lose everything, including the one person I thought loved me. But then I saw his face. And it wasn't the face of someone about to betray me. His mother turned, smile spreading wide. Tell her, son. Tell her this is what's best for the family. The silence that followed felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. My husband looked at his mother, and when he spoke, his voice was quiet. Dangerously quiet. Show her the other file, mother. Her smile faltered. What? The other file? The one you don't know I have. I watched the color drain from her face. I don't know what you're talking about. My husband pulled out his own phone, tapped it, and suddenly my voice filled the room from earlier in this very study. What did you put in that wine? And then her voice. Nothing dangerous, just something to make you more agreeable. He'd recorded everything, every word, every threat. I installed cameras in here 3 months ago, he said, still in that terrifyingly calm voice. When I found out what you were planning, his mother stood up so fast, her chair fell backward. You're spying on your own mother. I'm protecting my wife. He looked at me then, and I saw something in his eyes. Guilt, love, determination. I'm sorry I let it get this far, but I needed her to reveal everything, all of it, so there'd be no doubt about who you really are. Then he turned back to his mother, and the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Would you like me to show her my file on you? The one I've been building for 5 years. She went very still. Let's start with the financial fraud from your charity organization. The one where you embezzled over $200,000. I have the documents. He swiped his phone. Then there's the tax evasion. 3 years of unreported income. That's federal. Another swipe. Oh, and my personal favorite. The blackmail attempts on Dad's business partners after the divorce. I have recordings of those, too. You wouldn't, she whispered. I would. I will. He stepped closer to her. But here's the thing. That's really going to hurt you. Remember how you told Dad that his secretary was lying about the affair? How you convinced him to fire her and ruin her career? His mother's face had gone gray. She wasn't lying. You were having an affair with her husband. I found him. Mother, he kept every letter, every text, every receipt from the hotels. He's willing to testify. My husband's jaw was tight. You destroyed that woman's life to cover up your own sins. And Dad never knew the truth. The room was spinning for a different reason now. My husband had been planning this for years. While I'd been trying to win his mother's approval, he'd been building a case against her. Now we're going back to that party, he said. And you're going to stand there while I tell everyone what you tried to do tonight. Every guest, every family member, everyone. You can't. His mother gasped. I'm your mother. You poisoned my wife, he said. And there was so much rage beneath that calm exterior. You threatened her. You tried to steal everything she built. You stopped being my mother the moment you heard her. He helped me stand, his arm around my waist, steadying me. We walked out of that study, his mother trailing behind us, begging, pleading, her voice breaking into sobs. But we didn't stop. We walked straight to the center of the party and he picked up the microphone. Can I have everyone's attention, please? The music stopped. Conversations died. Every face turned toward us and my husband told them everything. He connected his phone to the big screen TV and played the recording. His mother's voice echoed across the lawn. Sign the papers or I'll destroy you. My voice slurred and frightened. What did you put in that wine? Her laugh cruel and satisfied. Just something to make you more agreeable. People gasped, whispered, stared at her in horror. He told them about the drugging, the blackmail, the fake evidence. He showed them the real group chat. The one where his siblings had been worried about me, supporting me, saying kind things. The other one had been completely fabricated. Fake numbers his mother created to isolate me. His siblings pushed through the crowd, faces pale, apologizing with tears in their eyes. They'd had no idea. She'd been manipulating all of us, playing us against each other for years. His mother tried to defend herself, tried to explain it away as a misunderstanding. But the recording didn't lie. The documents didn't lie. And when she realized no one was believing her, something in her snapped. She lunged at me, screaming about ungrateful children and gold diggers and how I'd ruined her family. Security guards grabbed her before she could reach me. She fought them, shrieking threats about lawsuits and revenge. Her perfect mask finally shattered for everyone to see. My husband served her with a restraining order right there in front of everyone. They escorted her off our property. Her screams echoed in the night air long after she disappeared from view. The party emptied quickly after that. People didn't know what to say, how to react, but our closest friends stayed. They helped us clean up, made sure I was okay. Someone called a doctor friend who confirmed I'd been given a strong dose of antihistamines mixed with something else. Nothing life-threatening, but enough to make me disoriented and compliant. When we were finally alone, just the two of us in that big empty house, I looked at my husband and felt everything at once. Gratitude, betrayal, love, anger. You let her drug me, I said quietly. I had a doctor watching you the entire time, he said, reaching for my hands. I swear I wouldn't have let anything truly dangerous happen. But I needed her to go all the way to show her true face because she'd done this before. That's when he told me about the first girlfriend, the one I never knew existed, the one who'd had a small business, a bakery. His mother had used the same tactics, the same manipulation. And that girl had signed everything over, lost her business, had a complete breakdown. Last he heard, she'd left the state and changed her name. I was young then, he said, voice breaking. I didn't see it happening until it was too late. But I swore I'd never let her destroy someone I loved ever again. So when I met you, when I fell for you, when I saw her starting the same patterns, he shook his head. I started documenting everything, building a case. I knew this day would come. I just didn't know it would be at our anniversary party. You should have told me, I whispered. I know and I'm sorry, but you needed to act natural. She's smart. She would have known if you were performing. This was the only way to protect you, to protect us, to make sure she could never do this again to anyone. I wanted to be angry. Part of me was angry, but the bigger part of me understood. He'd spent years setting this trap, watching his own mother, gathering evidence. He'd let me suffer tonight. Terrifying, awful moments. But he'd also saved everything I'd worked for. We need therapy, I said finally. Like serious marriage counseling because you can't make decisions like that without me. Not ever again. Agreed, he said immediately. Whatever you need. Whatever makes this right. 3 months later, his mother was prosecuted for drugging and attempted blackmail. She took a plea deal, probation, community service, and a permanent restraining order against both of us. The fraud charges I could have pressed would have put her in prison, but honestly, I just wanted her gone from our lives. My company is stronger than ever. I hired a security team, changed all my passwords, put protections in place that I should have had from the beginning, and my husband and I go to therapy every week, working through the trust issues, the trauma, the complicated feelings about what happened that night. His siblings are in our lives now. Really in our lives. We have dinners, we laugh. They apologize constantly for not seeing who their mother really was. We're building something real, something honest. But sometimes late at night, I still taste that wine, still feel that fog closing in. Still remember the moment I thought I'd lost everything. And I remember that the people who want to destroy you often come dressed in family clothes, carrying gifts, speaking about love while planning your downfall. My mother-in-law tried to take my company, my reputation, my life. Her face fell when my husband finally spoke because she realized she'd underestimated both of us. She thought love made us weak, but it's what made us unbreakable. I never imagined my own anniversary party would become a crime scene. If you're wondering what happened to my mother-in-law after the trial, karma is real, and that's a story for another time. Drop a comment telling me, Would you forgive your husband for keeping you in the dark like that? And if this story had you on the edge of your seat, hit that subscribe button right now because my next story is about what she tried to do after she violated that restraining order. You do not want to miss it. Thank you for standing with me through this nightmare.